Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the May meeting of the Hong Kong Study Circle and the Hong Kong Philatelic Society, sponsored by the Federation of Inter-Asian Philatelic. This month, we continue with the theme of the Hong Kong Postage Due. Last month, we had pretty good discussions and on this and the various aspects of the postage due mail as well as the stamps. The stamps. So this time we are so glad to have three excellent presenters. Simon Choi from now for the first time, he used to be in Hong Kong, but now he's in the USA, and we have Ingo, and maybe myself and Susan as well. So I think without further ado, I'd like to invite Simon to give a presentation, please. So Simon, would you like to?
Yes, sure. Yeah. Okay. Good day, everyone. And let me share the screen. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay,
now
good.
it's on, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, let me move away the icons first. Okay, first of all, literally mention a little bit about the background of my collection of postage due covers. In fact, I've been collecting loosely those postage due covers, and I didn't spend a lot of time in studying them, and so my knowledge on the calculations and all the different rates and marks, I don't have much knowledge on it, so I will not do a lot of analysis and the calculations during my presentation, just to show the different examples of postage due covers from different areas. Okay. Why it's not? Okay, the first one is outgoing from Hong Kong to UK, and from 1955 with a machine cancellation on a 10-cent stamp, and it's still with dual mark in oval, framed oval, and then marked 10 sometimes. And fortunately, there is a postage due mark on the cover, and also a postage due stamp from UK as well. And my impression after I assembled all these covers in the presentation, my impression is that it is not very common to have postage due marks or stamps on postage due covers. I'm not sure the exact reason, maybe because the postal staff were just too lazy, or maybe they thought it's too inconvenient to collect all those postage dues. So most of the covers that should be due, but the due rate or the due rates or the due amounts were not collected. This one to Mr. Riding, and this one Mr. Riding was also fortunate enough to receive a cover with two postage due stamps from UK, and of course that there are some postage due marks on cover from Hong Kong and also from UK. But this one, Mr. Riding, was not fortunate enough, and although there are still several postage due marks, but there is no postage due stamps on it. And I'm not sure where, but there is firstly there's a postage due mark from Hong Kong in Chinese with him Ji, and then it was crossed out in red pen, and then applied another one with a fraction of 50 and in a square frame. Maybe the first one was applied wrongly. This one to USA with the Kowloon postage steel mark in big square, I mean big framed rectangle T, and then 20 sometimes, but there is no postage steel mark or stamps from USA. This is a card posted from 1958 to London with a oval framed T, and again there is no postage steel mark from UK and no postage steel stamps. This one also to Mr. Riding, but his location was in Helena Island at that time, and although the GPO has applied a T fraction 60 kind of a postage steel mark, but there is no postage steel mark or stamp from St. Helena. Also to Mr. Riding, apparently Mr. Riding was receiving a lot of covers with those stamps. Okay, this one, the back of the cover is printed with a Hong Kong Telephone Company, and so this is a franking with a meter franking of 10 cents, Victoria, and there is a T mark, but faintly applied at the bottom right corner, and this is a fraction of 50. And in fact, one question from me, you can see that on the upper left corner that there is a Clean Hong Kong kind of slogan. I'm not sure who and where was it applied. Seems to me that for slogans from those meter franking machines, the slogans should be quite near to the circular day stamp, but this one, no matter no matter the red ink dye and the fonts are different from that of the meter on the right side. So can anyone give me any suggestion about the Clean Hong Kong slogan?
You sure it's not a hand stamp? And nothing to do
Hand stamp.
Nothing to do with the meter, the franking meter.
Oh, okay.
Same color?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it would have been applied by the meter machine.
Very far away from the
Yeah,
Simon said, very far
Yeah.
away from the date stamp die and the duty die.
It also looked,
I just put a strict edge on the bottom edge, and there's a slight slant, and both of them are similar.
Oh,
Yeah.
Very similar.
okay.
yeah, it's hard to tell if it's from the meter or if it's a hand stamp, but I think one thing, the Telephone Company of Hong Kong would have been part, maybe, I'm just guessing, of the government program that initiated these kind of Clean Hong Kong slogans, which we talked about several meetings ago. The government was always trying to encourage community initiatives, and they might have said, hey, Hong Kong Telephone, why don't you put this on your meters for a few months as a slogan? I'm just guessing on that, but definitely there was involvement of the government there.
That's logical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay, let me move on. Okay, this is an outgoing cover to China, and with the postage steel mark from Hong Kong, a fraction of 40. And in fact, it arrived to China without any postage steel mark or stamps. But there is a label, a retour label, mentioning that the address was incomplete, so it should be returned. And this is covered to Macau, and although the CDS cannot be clearly seen, but after examination, it reveals that it was from Shuttlecock, and the T mark 20/20. I'm not sure the 20 was applied after applying
No.
the T mark or together with the T mark. I'm not sure. It seems that they are quite well aligned. And I'm not sure where was this T mark applied, whether it was from shuttlecock or from the delivery office of Kowloon or where, I'm not sure. Okay, let's look at another example, similar example. This one is from Shet Wu Hui.
Yeah.
And also text, but the T mark is totally different from the previous one. You can see that it's a bigger T and yeah, with the sense together with the T, but the 20 marks applied later. Yeah. So any comments from our members?
Well, the other one is fixed, obviously. It looks at the 20 cents. The earlier one from shuttlecock is fixed. You can see it's just part of the cancel.
Yeah,
The other one is just a generic hand stamp with a line, and then you can put any value.
Right.
Why is it 20 over 20?
Yeah. This I am also asking this question in my mind.
What was the rate at that time? Wasn't it? I thought it was 10 cents, but no, that was the local rate. So it must.
These two covers were addressed to Macau.
Yeah, I think the Macau and China is the same rate, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was how much at that time in 1967?
That's right. The Hong Kong is 10 cents. 10 cents is the local rate in Hong Kong. So it could have been 20 cents to Macau or to China. And then this is obviously 10 cent deficient in postage. So they double up the 10 cent, it becomes 20 over 20.
Well, the fraction should be 10 over 20. If they paid 10 and the rate should be 20,
but
it should be 10 over.
10 becomes 20. I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but it's not how they should do it.
I'm curious that Macau doesn't show any evidence of charging the postage due, because Macau usually is very good at receiver markings and very officious in these kind of things. I'm very surprised that postage due didn't get, I mean, it probably did get collected, but they don't have any evidence of it on the cover.
Well, from these kind of covers that I have seen, probably that there are a lot of these postage covers around, and all of them were posted to that radio broadcast station in Macau with the purpose of dedicating a song to somebody. Probably there was a program which was very popular, and a lot of people were sending letters to dedicate songs, etc. So maybe the Macau Postal Department received a lot of these postal covers, and they decided not to charge anything.
Yeah, but Simon, on the other hand, look, there's a number. You see, this one has got a number.
Oh, all right, this 2071. But the other one,
well, it's possible that you know there was the post office just issued sort of penalty note to the
broadcast station.
Yeah, and just say, look,
and then collect it all together.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay, maybe yeah.
Excuse me. Here is 80 over 80. So apparently, it's not uncommon to have 100% tax. Can you see 80 over 80?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm wondering about, you were saying that these covers, if I understood right, were sent to, a lot of them would be sent to this address. If someone refused the cover, then would there be any mark on it saying that the postage due was collected if they refused it?
Charge not collected in this country.
I think it depends on situation and which post office was handling that refused cover. I have a few examples of refused collection of postage due. Maybe we can discuss a little bit more later. Okay. Okay.
Well, that would be very unlikely that it would be refused, because I have received in my mailbox many, not several, covers from Hong Kong with such a tax, and they never ever collected the money. And I want to challenge the clerk, asking them why you don't challenge, and they had no clue how to handle this T-mark. Absolutely no clue. So when they receive it, they put it in a mailbox, and that's it. I've never seen once a way to pay for those fees.
Just had a quick look at the back issues of the Hong Kong Study Circle journals, yeah, and there's 3 mentions of the Clean Hong Kong slogan, yeah, from 1972, 73 and 75, but it only mentions that slogan being used with machine cancellations, Hong Kong and Kowloon machine cancellation. There's no mention of them being used with meter mail, and it's got the same design as the one that you have.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Cheung.
This one is outgoing to Canada, and this one with the Hong Kong T-mark 100/40, and then Canada T-mark 30 cents, but local still stamp. This one is a little bit complicated. I'm trying to reconstruct the whole story. I'm not sure whether I'm totally correct or not. First of all, there is okay. Initially, this is business reply card should be used in Great Britain, not in Hong Kong. So when posted in Hong Kong without any stamps, and yeah, the Kowloon post office applied it CDS here, the May 29th CDS, and then because there was no postage stamp affixed, so it returned to the sender, and so there is a Shamshui post stamp. Yeah, the address here likely was delivered and responsible by the Shamshui post office, and received a back stamp of Shamshui post, and probably asked the sender to reapply a postage stamp. Then the sender affixed it 10 cents here again, but 10 cents was not enough for mails to London, so it was due, and T-mark was applied 5 sometimes. This is what I suppose the story should be.
That's what I would think.
Okay. This is another one. Well, a little bit abnormal, because the original franking machine is having a date of 1977. And addressed it to the police headquarters in Hong Kong. You can see 2 PHQ, the police headquarters marks here, and then they will cross it out, and then somehow they cross it out the address as well, and redirect it to an address in London, in England, and probably it was posted again and put into the postal system, and then in GPO it was applied with a machine cancel of 1978, more than 1 year after the original meter mark, the date of the meter, and so obviously it was a postage still case, and then T-mark applied fraction of 60. And then several postage still stamps affixed. Okay, now we will cover the incoming postage still stamp covers. This is from Indonesia, and it's nothing special, but it was T-mark, and then 50 cents postage still stamp of Hong Kong affixed at the back. And then this one is from Netherlands to Central, and the GPO, in fact, at that time was using a franking machine, the postage steel franker, the PO1, which is quite commonly found on covers. And this is from UK. Interesting thing is that the double circle postage steel mark in black color from UK. It looks like it was pre-printed on the cover, but I'm not sure it should not be pre-printed. So probably it was a cachet or something like that. It is nicely applied. And then at the postage steel, you can see that this is just a single piece of impression or mark, and should be the franking machine number 51. And also to pay Himji, a mark from GPO. And also a postage steel label at the back saying that the receiver should pay a handling fee of $2.50 in addition to the division postage. This is another example incoming. This was from Taipei, Taiwan to Hong Kong, and to an address in fact the address should be in Ma On Shan, but the Ma On Shan post office was not opened yet, so the delivery office at that time was Sha Tin Central. So the postage steel stamps and marks were from Sha Tin Central. And also there is a label at the back saying that the handling fee was $4 in addition to the division postage. Okay, a few examples which should not be well, you can see a lot of these covers around in auctions many years ago, and there's a large quantity. But even though they are not rare, but in fact there are something interesting among those covers. This one, okay, all those covers were from China and mailed mostly to Central Kowloon, but not all of them. So there are some variations. This one was sending to Mongkok, and the delivery office responsible was Kowloon Central. So there are a few Kowloon Central marks applied, including the to pay mark, and then the white label at the back saying that the handling fee, handling charge of and then the total division or total due charge of $2.90, etc. Interesting thing is that those postage steels were not paid by the receiver, and therefore the Kowloon Central could not collect those charges, and ultimately they applied the charge not collected in Kowloon on those postage steel stamps. And there are a lot of these covers from Kowloon Central around in the market, and probably the post office initially they start to write the $2.90 by hand on the label, but then they decided to produce, or they use a hand stamp of $2.90 and just applied it yeah, $2.90 mark on the label. Yeah, this is another example from Kowloon Central, and we're also with the charge not collected in Kowloon mark and the postage steel mark, etc. This one, apparently it looked similar to the previous one, but in fact the address was in Tokwa 1, and at that time Tokwa 1 near Hong Ham was responsible by IMC, not Account Central. So this cover was handled by International Mail Center. So the pay mark, postage still, and I suppose the return mark and also the charge not collected in Kowloon mark was from IMC. The look and feel and type in fact are very similar to the one to the previous one. I mean the charge not collected in Kowloon mark. But this one I suppose should be used in IMC. That means besides of Kowloon Central, IMC was also having this charge not collected in Kowloon mark. And in fact, during that time, the returned letter office Kowloon, that CDS, that date stamp was in IMC, not in Kowloon Central. This one was addressed to Shamshui Po, and the delivery office at that time was Cheung Wan. So everything was handled by Cheung Wan, and therefore the charge not collected mark was not charge not collected in Kowloon, but charge not collected at CSW Cheung Wan. This one was addressed to a prisoner at a Stanley prison, and obviously you can imagine the prisoner will not pay for the postage still. I'm not sure whether it would be addressed directly to the prisoner, or the officer there would collect the letter. I mean, normally the officer would collect the letter first, and then open it up, and then check whether there was something sensitive.
Of some sort. Yeah. It'd be censored.
Yeah. Probably, yeah. It would be censored. So the officer in charge or probably refused to pay for the postage still, and then the Shaki Wan delivery office returned the letter back to Shaki Wan, and then then you can see all those Shaki Wan delivery office marks at the back. This is okay. Then we go to the local postage still. This ordinary postage still cover without any stamps, posted without any stamps, and then charged 10 postage still. Another one, the previous one is a card. So the deal was 10 cents, and then this one is a letter. So the deal was 20 cents. And then this one to Mr. Riding, and he was fortunate to get a cover with 2 times 10 cents postage still stamps. And this one a meter, postage still meter. Yeah, I think it's quite commonly found with the date stamp die not in the same alignment as the rate die.
This is the first postage still meter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the first type. So show the second type, which was the penny bowls one.
Oh, the PO1. The second type is
PO1. Yeah.
Okay.
And the third one you show is it's an adaptation of the, I think it's a Haskell machine or something on the parcel post.
Right. I can see that.
With a square box with a long oblong box, double-lined oblong box. In the 80s. It was a.
But is there any machine number on this postage still machine?
No, it's just a postage still. There is one. You see in the date stamp is number one.
Oh, okay, right.
The postage still, there's a 1 each
one
side.
at both sides.
So it's PO1, number 1.
Okay.
And note that there's a counter on the top. The 171.
Yeah.
So each one is actually unique.
Is it because of the space used for the counter? So that's why the date stamp was
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a counter. So I mean, you know, each one is a kind of unique because I mean the next one will be 172. This was introduced in 1950s.
Oh, okay. This is a normal business reply card used in Hong Kong, and then the company receiving all those business reply letters should pay the postage due and license to pay. Okay, this one is addressed to a government department, and although there is a pay mark on the front of the cover, but I suppose because it was addressed to a government department, so the postal card should not expect the government officer receiving this letter would pay for the postage due. So they, I guess, they decided not to apply any postage due stamps there because they would never collect it.
This is again going to Chris Whiting. It's the public works department.
This one I'm not sure. There's no name on it. That's a department name.
Commerce department. He used to just go through all the mail every day for interesting cover. But not necessarily to him, but to his department for sure.
And then ask the secretary or ask the
any registered covers, anything from Money Arcade or something.
And he carries it back along, and then whoever
because these the covers, the envelope would have been thrown away. They would kept the letter inside, and they probably be thrown away the envelope.
Okay. As I mentioned, that there are not many covers which should be due and collected. But actually having the postage due stamps, and especially during the modern days, the post office I'm not sure whether I should use the word lazy, or maybe it's not a cost efficient enough to collect postage dues. So they just deliver the letters, or maybe they would just dump all those postage due letters and without delivering in. I'm not sure. just while guessing. But there are still examples with postage due collected, and this is one of them, and addressed to close the row appeal box. An interesting thing is the double ring close the row date stamp. That postmark was set to be stored in the cabinet all the time, and was seldomly used. But for postage due, they took it out from the cabinet and then used it to cancel the postage due stamps. This is another charge not collected, and the cover, in fact, was posted in Llama Island, and in fact, Llama for all those post office at the outlying islands in Hong Kong, including Llama, Mui Wo, Tai O, Cheung, Chau, Ping Chau. If the letters if the letter or the mail was posted to one of those islands, they will not be sent back to GPO. They would just treat it locally, and therefore each of those outlying island post office was having a double ring kind of CDS used for those local mailed locally addressed letters. So this one should be mailed in Llama and addressed to Llama. So the double ring CDS was applied on the original stamp, the 20 cents and the 10 cents, and but it was not enough for a local mail. So postage still mark was applied, and then postage still stamp was fixed. And but ultimately, the addressee did not collect the letter or refused it to collect. So it was charged not collected in Hong Kong. That and then yeah, with the Llama Island double ring CBS applied it on the postage stamps as well, and returned it back to Hong Kong. So there is a machine cancellation from GPO at the back of the cover. Okay, this is the end of my presentation, and yeah, thank you for listening and watching.
Simon, before you go
Yes.
on, could you go back to the last cover, please?
Okay,
Just click on 31 there. Yeah.
this one.
Excuse my ignorance here, but I've never gotten the postage due cover at my address. Here I see in the box that it was refused
Yeah.
and it's unclaimed, but there's postage due stamps on it. And here's where I don't understand. Would they apply the postage due stamps when somebody actually paid the postage due? Or they apply them and say, look at guy, you got to pay all the due that's on those colored stamps?
It had been before it was collected, wasn't it?
That's why, yeah.
That's why they have charge not collected. If they waited until the charge had been collected, they wouldn't need to use that hand stamp.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, some assume that you would have paid the postage due, so they stuck the postage due stamps on the cover. But obviously, it's probably safer not to have stuck the postage due labels on the cover, just in case that somebody said, I'm not going to pay for it. And then you have to use something to annul the stamps, and then probably have to do something to your record book as well.
Yeah, I just saw, I hadn't seen that before, but in the rectangle or in the square on the colored stamps, it says charge not collected. Collected, yeah, not collected. Okay, thank you very much.
This is also a very special one because all the rest of the box, the charge not collect box have lines instead of a cross. I mean that kind of thing that reminded me of those. I think in the say George V period, where they have the charge not collect kind of X. The style was the old style. But anyhow,
Do we know? Sorry.
It's up to the branch office postmaster to apply for a cachet. So he could have designed the any style that he liked, but probably have to conform to certain things. Like that T is very in a box is very irregular. Like this one looks like 1950. The T the Son team. So in fact, both the chops. This is a standard chop. The return to sender cachet is a standard one, standard issue. But these two are probably local issue, possibly designed by the Llama postmaster.
There's another thing that could be contributing to the postage due charge, and that is the poste restante. You see that the addressee is a Miss Betty Smith, care of poste restante, and there's usually a fee applied for it, which is often paid in postage dues or sometimes regular definitive issues. But I don't think 180 sounds like the right fee for poste restante service. And also, I think 30 cents is underpaid by a lot, because I think in 1995 the local rate was what, $1.40 or something.
At that time, the rate should be, let me see, at $1.20, if I remember.
120.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it was 120 for the deficiency and 60 cents. Yeah, 60.
I think it is
the
a double of deficiency of 90, so it came up to $1.80.
Yeah.
Simon,
Oh, yeah.
Simon.
Oh, I got you.
Do
Yeah.
you, from the return address, do you think it's a philatelist?
Yes.
I
Yes.
suppose so. I suppose so.
So this
Usually,
was
most of the
made, right?
covers, if you see sent to post response should be from philatelist.
And a common name like Betty Smith, right? John Smith. I mean,
Mhm.
everything sounds too suspicious. I thought it might be my buddy, Choi,
Buddy.
because it's his writing. I look at it and it's his writing. I mean, I know his writing.
Maybe you ask your
That's a
buddy.
style. That's
I'm gonna ask my buddy. I haven't seen him for a while.
Yeah, no, there's no question this is philatelic, but it's still very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, the rates are correct. So yeah.
If he had
I
made
have
the
to
trip to Llama Island, he better send something there. He
Yeah.
better pay for the ferry.
Otherwise, I'll complain you.
I
Right.
have a general question there. When a country, when a cover leave a country underpaid and arrive in another country, the other country collect the fee. How do they offset the sending country with the fees they have collected?
That's a UPU procedure, but I don't know what it is. There's a postage due mail study group in the UK that could probably answer that, but it's a valid question, Philippe, but I don't know what the answer is to that.
Probably some accounting system.
Okay.
Just like the accountancy marking.
Canada have canceled the postage due system. So even if you send a deficient letter into Canada for past 20 years, it won't be taxed because the cost of hiring somebody in the system for them to spend the time and to collect is just not worth it.
Yeah.
So when there was still a system, my buddy Choi was going into the post office to teach the Canadian clerks how to apply postage due.
So the conclusion is that we can send any cover underpaid we want, and it wouldn't be any effect on the addressee. That's interesting.
Yeah. So if Sam, if you are willing to accept your study circle journal by email, then I could actually send one to you at $5 or something.
I actually have one that the stamps are totally gone.
Oh, really?
And there's a label on it too.
Yeah.
I just haven't the time to scan it. You know,
Does it fell off? I suppose the stamp.
it must have fell off. You put another label on it to put the stamp on, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. I have one. I don't have it here, but the whole stamp was gone, and there was a label on it.
I have one.
Not a
too.
Canadian label, but a Hong Kong label.
Really?
Hong Kong.
Okay.
So John, you got the same thing too?
I do.
Yeah.
Well, you still got the journal.
Thank you. Yes.
But very late. Very late.
Yeah, it's gone by email, probably.
For your record, Andrew, here is another cover sent to Hong Kong from College Station. I don't know if you can see it correctly.
Yeah. With a 40 cent, two 20 cents postage due.
Yeah.
Quite amazing how they actually calculate the postage due. It's not so simple nowadays, and the meaning of the actual chop that they apply. I think you really have to ask somebody in the know, working in the post office or something. Yeah. Good. Right. So
Andrew,
thank you very much.
Out of the 12 people, you got 4 Canadians.
All right. First time. Haven't seen you for a while.
I usually am working. Otherwise, I'd be with you every time.
Oh, is it Monday?
on vacation.
You then?
Yeah.
Monday's a good day. Okay. Because
Well,
we-
no, it's the time. It's the time, doctor. I normally have to be at work at 9 o'clock. So I'm on
Okay.
vacation. This is a special
Okay.
treat.
Okay. I think some of our regular speakers actually prefer any other days except Thursday because some of them actually clash with the meetings of the say maybe the Royal. They have meetings on Thursday, so that's actually clash with them and some other societies. So we will try this one is actually is one off because the Hong Kong Philatelic Society has an AGM on Thursday. So that's why we tried on Monday, and then of course the other factor is Richard Whittington. I mean, he's always occupied on a Thursday, so he hasn't been to the meeting for quite a few months. So he said, can you have another day? Try another day and see whether people turn up. Anyway, I'm quite happy. I mean, any days suits me. So I think if you guys think that Monday is a good day for meeting, why not? So, yeah. I'm still in my office. So anyway, okay. So thank you very much. Any questions? From anybody? If not, we'll move on to the next presentation, which is Ingo.
All right. Ironically, I have a very similar presentation to Simon's. It's a selection of covers, a little bit different approach, but let's see how we compare.
Yeah.
All right. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
So I'm showing a selection of postage due mail between those dates, 1932 to 1964. It's an arbitrary range that I just picked out covers that are interesting to talk about. I will be talking about the same categories that Simon mentioned in this order: local underpaid mail, returned for postage due letters. That was something that wasn't covered. Outgoing underpaid mail and incoming underpaid mail. So here we go. So this first one is, there's a couple of examples of local underpaid mail. This one from 1950, they put on 2 cents worth of postage when it should have been 5 cents. The 5 cents would have been the printed matter rate. The cover is sealed, so it's hard to tell how they determined that it should have been printed matter. But somehow the post office decided the deficiency was 3 cents and double is 6 cents, so it's paid with the 6 cents postage due. The centime marking, it is listed in both Cheung and Proud. I always refer in this presentation to Cheung, but of course it's Cheung and Choi that published that 1996 book on postage due. It's a fabulous book that really educates us about the whole postage due system. But as you'll see, there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered by studying the UPU regulations and the currency exchange rates. So another example of a local underpaid mail is a 1951 cover. It's pretty cool because it has that government rice distribution slogan, and it's also got a postman's beat chop K42, which I didn't find listed in Proud. It was 10 cents for the local letter rate, so double deficiency, 20 cents paid by the 20-cent black postage due label.
Ingo, a question. Do you happen to know the address to which this was sent to get the K42? Or can anyone?
I have to defer to somebody who can read Chinese.
That was my subtle question.
Yeah, is there anybody who can tell what the address is?
Sing-San-do. Some Bo,
Yeah.
but it's Sing-San-do, right?
Yeah.
So it's further up.
Yeah.
It's up the peninsula?
Yeah, it's further up.
Okay, thanks very much, folks.
Well, nowadays they call it like West, Chunwan West, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. In Proud, the K postman's beat chops go up to 39. So
Yeah.
this is one that's not listed. And then I have another one that's it is definitely philatelic. It's addressed to that famous collector, Mr. Peter Scheck.
All right.
But it's from Typo. It was posted unpaid in Typo, which is cool. And it's the same rate situation. 10 cents was the rate. It's unpaid, so they put on a pair of 10s for double deficiency. That tax marking, it is listed in both Chew and Proud, but it's a variety. It's not exactly the same as what they show. And the beat chop is listed in Proud.
Ingo, if you look at the address, it's 479 Castle Peak Road. It's exactly the same as the previous card. So that's
This one is 479. No, it's Castle Peak Road. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That says probably going to well, the Chinese name is not Peter Scheck, so it might be one of his employees or something. Yeah.
Right.
It's definitely the Peter Scheck thing.
Good catch. Boy, I didn't notice that. I did see the 479, but I didn't compare it to that cover. Okay.
No, in fact, I have quite some covers addressed to 479 Castle Peak Road, and in fact, there were 2 floors, the ground floor and the first floor, and I suppose that those people are having some relationship with Mr. Peter Scheck. Either the tenants or his relatives or whoever. I don't know, but definitely that address, mails to that address were all collected by Mr. Peter Scheck.
All kept. Well,
in fact, the address, today, that exact address is a CLP power station.
Oh, right. Okay.
But it's a very nice match. We know that when they change the system, the K series goes over to the S series up here. So it's a nice match. Thank you for that information.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is from 51 and this is 54. So that's
it gives a window.
When they change the system over.
Yeah.
All right, now we go to return for postage due, which is this marking here. So the post office had a system. If somebody put something in the mail that was underpaid, if they knew the sender or had a sender's name on the thing, they would send it back to that place saying, hey, you owe us, in this case, 1 cent. Now, this one is strange in that regard because there is no return address or sender's address on it. So I'm thinking it must have been brought to the post office with the underpaid stamp on it. And then somebody said, hey, wait a second, that's not enough. You owe me 1 cent. And the other thing that is curious about this, I've shown this cover before, and I also presented it to the Postage Due Mail Study Group. And there's a lot of curiosity here because it was posted on board a ship.
Yeah.
So on 8th of September, it was posted on the Empress of Asia, and the purser shows receipt of it. So, but that postage due marking, that return for postage due 1 cent, that could only have been done at the GPO. That wouldn't have been in the possession of the purser. So it went to the GPO and then somehow got onto that ship the same day, because it's the 8th of September is the cancellation on the stamp. The 8th of September is the purser's thing. So somebody ran it down to the docks and got it onto the ship. And then it had the packet boat marking receiver at Victoria, BC. So there's a lot of information on this cover, and it's hard to decipher it all. But one thing that also then came to light when I showed it to an American audience, somebody told me the addressee, Mr. Paul V. Howell in Needles, California, that's in the middle of the desert in California, was a very well-known philatelist.
Right.
So it's probably a contrived cover. But still, with interesting markings in a period that you don't get this very often. And if it were the printed paper rate, printed matter would have been 5 cents per 2 ounce. So it is a correctly short paid and money collected cover. So interesting, but I don't have all the answers. This one is more commercial. It's this one took me a long time to figure out, but if the stamps on the right, there's 8 30-cent stamps. So it's post-war 1947, and they're canceled on the 13th of September. The ones on the left here, adding up to $1.80, are canceled on the 15th of September. So what happened was the guy had put on $2.40 worth of postage, and that was determined to be short because they returned it, but they said 360. So if you had 360 and 240, that would make $6, which means the post office thought it was a triple weight letter. But in fact, instead of paying 360, they only paid 180 because the cover must have been reweighed and found to be double, not triple weight. And the resulting rate altogether ends up double weight $4. If you add up all those stamps, it's $4. And as you can see, they also, in that return for postage due marking, they mark it out. And that was the post office procedure. Once the sender paid the deficiency, they would cross that out so that subsequent handling at the post office, subsequent handlers at the post office knew that it had been paid and they don't have to deal with the postage due. The next one is another return for postage due, this time 20 cents. It's 1954, mailed in Wan Chai, which is always nice to get a branch post office. And when they returned it, either the sender had a 20-cent King George stamp handy, or maybe they brought it to the post office to pay it, and the post office had a leftover 20-cent King George's stamp, but the 20 cents deficiency was paid with that, giving us a mixed franking, a very legitimate, fun mixed franking, and also going to a beautiful destination of Luxembourg.
Yeah. Or the guy
Right.
King George VI adhesive, rather than the post office was 54. Actually, what date is it? 54. Huh.
54. They were still around then.
That's right. They said, oh yeah, of course. That's legit. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think the post office would sell King George VI stamps because the QE2 issue stamps have already been issued.
Yeah.
It's just old stock from seeing the cachet at the bottom, return for postage cachet. He just stuck the old stamp, that's left over.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen King George's VI stamp usage as late as 56 in my possession, and even later online.
Nice combination.
Yeah.
Nice combination. Mixed franking.
Yeah. All right, and then now we're coming to postage due on outgoing mail. And again, I've shown this one before, but it's got a really interesting story. They addressed a letter to Kent in England to be routed via Siberia, which would necessitate a rate of 20 cents. And they paid the 20 cents with revenue stamps. There's no sender shown. The back of the cover is blank, so we don't know who the sender is. So because there's no sender, the post office had to send it onwards, but you could see they outlined these stamps to show that they're not accepted as valid, they're invalid, and put on the T marking, and that T marking is not listed. There's a variation of it in both chew and proud, but it's a fatter T. It's definitely a different hand stamp. So it's an unlisted tax marking. I'm really happy that they put this Hong Kong circular date stamp on to let us know the date of when it was sent. And when it got into England, the 5-penny foreign branch postage due was applied, and there's your 5 pence postage due marking. Walmer in Kent, the postage dues are canceled by Deal, which is a port or a fishing town on the extreme east coast of England. And I guess Walmer is somewhere near there. So this is a fun one. Illegal usage of revenues.
Yeah.
The next one is another example of outgoing underpaid mail. This is more modern, 1964.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to send a letter to somebody on a ship that they were hoping to catch in Singapore. And they mailed it from North Point with a 10-cent stamp, but the rate would have been 40 cents. So it was short paid by 30 cents Hong Kong. But this is where I don't understand how they converted 30 cents Hong Kong postage due to 11 cents Singapore dollars, which again, you need to understand the conversion ratios. And again, the postage due specialists, they know those all. They know how you get it from the origin currency translated into centimes, gold centimes, French, the French standard, and then reconverted to the local currency at the destination. And there's a whole process to that. And again, I'm just learning it as I continue my membership in the postage due mail study group. But I'm trying to find somebody who can give me written reference material, and they're very mysterious about it, so I don't have it yet. But anyway, somehow the 30-cent deficiency turned into 11 cents Singapore, and it is paid, it is paid by 11 cents of Malayan Postal Union postage dues. They're nice stamps and nicely canceled. It says charge not collected. Because, I beg your pardon?
No, same comment. Sorry.
Yeah, charge not collected because it missed the ship. Ship returned to UK, gone away, is marking crossing out the consignee, and it ended up being returned to Hong Kong. We have a returned letter office hand stamp a few weeks later, and it never made it to the consignee. And because there's a sender address on the back, it would have gone back to them in North Point. Yeah. So it tells the whole story of this cover. But again, for me, the tax marking and the rate, the 11 cents is the big mystery. How do they get to 11 Singapore cents from 30 Hong Kong cents? I don't know.
30 Hong Kong, yeah. Well, it's all the exchange rate as well. They're taking into account.
Yeah, there are tables for the exchange rates, but I've looked at the UPU website and there's nothing I could find there. They have current ones, but not historical ones. So, all right. The next one is another incoming postage due underpaid letter from the United States. This was mailed in Seattle in the 1930s, I think 1936. The correct rate was 5 cents for surface mail from the United States to Hong Kong. So 2 cents deficiency. And here in Seattle at the origin, they put on a tax marking that it was determined to be 20 centimes. So the exchange rate from the US dollar, the 2 cents to 20 centimes, so it's 10 times. But then there was an exchange rate to translate those 20 centimes into Hong Kong currency, and they determined that to be 20 Hong Kong cents. And there's franked with the 4 cent Hong Kong postage due stamps. A lot of interesting markings on it. Besides the postage due stuff, there's the retour, because this thing also was trying to get a passenger that was on a ship, the President Grant, sailing from Hong Kong August 13th. It only got into Hong Kong, according to the receiver markings, on the 18th, sorry, the 14th in Victoria. So it missed the sailing, and it says here, too late, please return to sender. So it did get returned back to Seattle, and you have the whole routing of that, and the gone away and the retour auxiliary marking. And to me, one of the most fun things is the use of the espleniform mark to tie the postage due rates to the cover. A lot of interest in this cover, and you know, so this cover was, somebody was wanting to throw it away, so I said, well, I'll take it. And it's got a very good story to it.
Good.
Now we come to another incoming postcard. Postcards are often short paid for various reasons. Tourists sending postcards home don't know the exact rate, or clerks in stores that sell post office postcards don't know the rate so correctly. So somebody was told it's 15 cents to airmail a postcard to Hong Kong, but in fact the rate was 25 cents. So it was 10 cents short. And in Niagara Falls, they determined that that shortage would be 60 centimes. So the Canadian deficiency currency exchange rate was 6-1. Sorry, 10 cents deficiency was converted to 60 centimes. And the 60 centimes in 1951 was converted to $1.20 Hong Kong, as indicated by the red marking there. And then they decided to be really kind in the Hong Kong receiving post office. It was addressed to somebody in the Peninsula Hotel, probably a guest there. And so they didn't want to destroy the beauty of the card. So they put the postage dues of $1.20 on the edge of the card to be really nice. They are tied in Kowloon, and it makes it a pretty interesting card. So that is a incoming underpaid airmail postcard. To do the
Ingo,
study of this,
sorry, was there a higher value of postage due than 50 cents? Was there $1, $2, $3?
in 1951, I think 50 cents was the highest one. There was a dollar one that came out, I think, in the 60s.
Probably later. 70s.
Okay.
80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so to tell the story of these kind of covers, you need all the rate books from both the country of origin and Hong Kong, and it makes it a really interesting sort of hunt to figure out the story of these covers. But anyways, I enjoy them a lot, and I hope you did too.
Oh, thank you very much. Great. Great stuff.
Thanks.
Good. Right. Thank you, Ingo. Yep.
You're welcome.
I'll interrupt for a second. Philip, I sent you a chat.
Yeah. Well, I hope, Ingo, I hope you find lots more postage dues in Essen. There are many dealers.
Yeah, trying to find Hong Kong material in European shows. You do find some. Everybody has, one or two covers, and sometimes they don't know really the true value of these things. So it's good hunting.
Yeah, well,
they do in London.
Yeah. All right then. I think I'll do my bit. Okay, let me try to do this. Right, okay, so well, I'm going to start right at the beginning. I'm just going to examine my talk. My presentation is I'm going to examine some of the early postage due markings, which you actually see in the cloud. So here's a list of markings. Right. Okay. So the presentation is actually divided into two parts. One, before Hong Kong became a member of the GPU or UPU, and the use of various instructional hand stamps. And then after joining the GPU and UPU, which you guys have already dealt with, you know, I probably won't have time to do the second part, which I'll probably leave it until the next meeting. So we'll start right at the beginning. If you look at Proud, if you have the big fat Proud book, the 1841 to 1997, on page 436 to 437, he listed a number of hand stamps found on early Hong Kong if insufficiently prepaid letters. It's a bit of a mess because I mean, you know, they look all very messy and you're not quite sure whether his recorded dates are accurate or not. But and I started actually looking at them, you know, right from the origin, i.e., going through the London GPO proof books and see whether they were there or not. So actually, and then I discovered that there was a British Treasury warrant on the 1st of February 1858, indicating the compulsory prepayment of postage at sixpence per half ounce. That's by Southampton route, and the 9p per quarter ounce by the Marseilles to Hong Kong. That this is actually the British Treasury warrant, of course, applied to the mail from the UK. So after publication of that Treasury warrant, the Hong Kong Post Office actually made public of this in the Hong Kong Government Gazette of 20th of March 1858, and implemented this on the 1st of May 1858. Now the problem with this is in 1858 there were no stamps, and the other way is in the old days there were no letterbox. So how people actually send the letters? They had to go to the post office. So it's really a fat chance of trying to throw something, unpaid in the post office. Well, I shall come to that to explain that. But anyway, it's actually said that in that particular notice, it said that prepaid less than single rate letter will be opened and returned to sender for deficient postage. And the prepaid at least the single rate to be forwarded and charged deficiency plus sixpenny fine or penalty, whatever you like to call it. So this is actually this is actually from the Gazette that you can actually see about this unpaid letter. So letters pay less than a single rate, exactly said. And then at first, actually, if you note here, it says all letters posted in China actually didn't actually mention anything about Hong Kong. So I just wonder whether actually this notice is actually referred to mail from China, in order to report them from China, rather than actually from Hong Kong. But if you look at that later on, there's in the Government Gazette of later July. This is March, okay, March 20th. So on the July the 24th, it's actually another, or you can say correction or whatever, published in the Government Gazette. It said that for general information, in future, letters for United Kingdom may be posted at any of the undermentioned ports in China, i.e. the Canton, Whampoa, Shanghai, Amoy, Fuzhou, Ningpo, or Macau, with or without prepayment of postage at the option of the sender. And this is actually referring to the mail to the UK rather than the mail to other countries, because there were obviously other countries which you could not prepay. So anyway, all letter posted in Hong Kong for the United Kingdom must be prepaid in money, it says here. The use of postage stamps not being authorized for the present because there were no postage stamps at the time, obviously. Okay, so right, so these are the marks actually illustrated on page 436 of Proud, the thick Proud book, and then you can see there are a number of caches. I just classified them into caches for this for the time being, and then you can see that this one was actually sent from London on the end of August and 1858. And if you notice the wording here, and you've got the insufficiently paid, so the post office would have need to fill in some value there, and then fine, and then more to pay, obviously, when it arrived in London. And there were other hand stamps, and with the colonial share of fine, which I explained why. And then obviously this deficient postage and without any colonial share. And then you can see other types with these insufficiently paid or returned for postage, etc., or relevant to the whole system of actually assessing and collecting, assessing postage dues. Right. So this is actually the thing from the GPO proof book actually showing this marking. Okay. In the sense, obviously here it says August 31st, 1858 to Hong Kong from GPO London. Proud actually show this marking here as he said as I-211, and the date it said only date is October 16, 1864. Okay, so I checked. This is actually a part of the page, but the whole page has no such marking. So I just wonder whether actually I would probably not wonder. I think this marking he actually got it wrong, or maybe the person working for him got it wrong. This is actually a marking of a later type. But if you look at these, they all have a line behind, and that one hasn't. But interestingly, I'll show you that why this was wrong. I think it was a mess up of his book. Okay, so right. So this is the Hong Kong Government Gazette of November 29, 1862, when announcing the issue of stamps on the 8th of December. 62, and the regulations, and with accompanied with the regulations on insufficiently prepaid letters. And then you can actually see that here, correspondence insufficiently stamped will be returned to the writers with an indication of amount insufficient, except in the case of letters originating at any of the agencies of the Hong Kong Post Office, which will, if addressed to the United Kingdom, be sent on charge with the deficient amount of postage and a fine of 1 shilling. Now, this is quite interesting because previously it was 6p, and now it's gone up to 1 shilling. So it actually appears that the 1 shilling fine was a split. It was a split 50-50 between UK and Hong Kong. As you can see, some of the hand stamps, some of the early hand stamps, why they have the colonial share of fine included the hand stamp. So the first marking actually is insufficiently paid fine. This one, which is I-212, has not been seen used. I don't know whether you for an example, but as I said in 1858, I mean you don't need it. Why you need to be put? You need a marking like that, and it was probably left in the post office and probably got forgotten or rotten away or whatever. Anyway, or lost, or whatever. Okay, so then this is actually the marking. You note the earliest recorded date is October the 14th, 64. It's like this one, October 1664. There's a slight difference. The reason why there's difference is because this date actually refers to this cover. This is actually from and I believe is I think it could have been Harmon. But anyway, you can see here. See the date actually it is October 14th, letter to Dublin. as he said that Hong Kong 14th October 64. Okay, but it has a date stamp on the back, obviously, and then you can see that it's franked 20 cents with 12 cents and 8 cents, making up 20 cents, which is it's actually 12 cents or not 12 cents, but 12 cents or sixpence underpaid on Marseille's route, which was 32 cents postage for half ounce. So okay, so you can see here the deficient postage is actually sixpence. Okay, but with the fine of actually 1 shilling, but it's actually entered the sixpence here because of they split the fine 50-50. Okay, so the other fine actually went to the British. So actually the total collect here is more to pay. I'm pretty sure it is a double mark with this 1 shilling 6. Okay, 1 shilling fine actually is split between that. And so this is actually, to my knowledge, I think this is the only example of this mark. I don't know, you might have some more, you've seen some more, but no, so here we go. This is the only example of this mark. Then comes another one, and then proud, of course, actually written here, sent on January 24th, 1865, plus 2 others. Okay, I actually went through the GPO records and I couldn't find this page. So anyway, maybe somebody nicked it, I don't know. But what 2 others? What does it mean by 2 others? Is it 2 others of the same or what? Anyhow, he classified that as I-213. Okay, now this is actually, you do actually find a few more covers here. So this is a very, very interesting cover with the hand stamp. It's December the 13th, 1866. Actually, it's an officer letter, underpay letter to UK by Marseille, franked 8 pence for half ounce. Officer letter at 10 pence with the correct rate of 10 pence per half ounce. So it was correctly entered as 2pence underpaid. But interestingly, for the officer, everything is half. So the thing is, the here entered should be 6, but in fact it's entered 3, which there's a half fine. You know, there's even the fine is half. So that actually the total penalty to pay was in fact 6. In fact 6. So actually assessed as 2 pence underpaid and 6 pence half fine for officer. So the total you add up becomes 8 pence to pay, which they had the 8 here. And it's got a very interesting 881 P&O Mediterranean salter mark cancelling the pair of 4 pence stamps. So it's quite a nice cover. And the more to pay, of course, I believe is a British mark rather than Hong Kong. There's another example, but at a later date, that is to London. Frank with 28 cents on 30 cents stamp, sent on the September the 16th, 1876, and the rate was 1 shilling, 1 shilling 2 pence for half ounce. So actually found to be over and overweight. Actually, it's overweight letter, and there's actually his column below is a double rate letter. So so it says that 1 shilling and 2 underpaid, 1 shilling fine. Again, split between 6 pence only and 6 pence each. Total of 2 shilling 2. So you can actually see the same big stack here. And of course, when handle this mail and when the money is collected, we cross it out. So here's another page of the GPU book for December, and it actually showed well on top there were a bunch of 62 different killers, but below that on the bottom of the page you can see there are 3 different insufficiently prepaid hands with a line for entering the actual amount, and then the 3 return for postage. Hence, superficially they look almost the same, but they actually look at closely, and they are quite different. So this one actually, Proud actually called this I-214. Is what he referred to this one, and then this one he actually called I-225. This really is always numbering is a little bit of mess. Right. Okay. So you can actually compare the 3 different hand stamps and see the differences. Okay. The first one, you can see there's a narrow first E, which is here. Okay, and there's a wide Y. The 2 arms are quite wide. Okay, and then the loop of the P is rather small. Okay, whereas the second one, here we go. The second one, you've got very interesting because this one actually got worn down pretty early in the kind of late 60s, 1860s, and the eye is almost completely gone. So you are left with the impression of with an inefficiently, okay, without an eye, and then again there's a small loop and there's the interesting. We look at this. This is quite consistently shown on covers that with the Y with the right arm shortened, and then there's a wide E compared to this one. And the third type, it's got a squash AID at and a wide Y. And then Proud also listed another type, which he called it I-215. But that's I find it probably is in the it was in the GPO proof book, but the page was not there. Probably some of the page got lost, but this one has got narrow Y. Okay, I just show you some examples. Okay, here's the first type. Okay, again with the first E, narrow first E and wide Y. Okay, and then this is actually this cover is quite interesting because it had a pair of stamps there, paying the French rate. It should be 6 cents times 2 is actually 16 cents, which is 8 pence. It's got a red 8, but somehow it fell off. And this was from Shanghai. The letter was from Shanghai, so it came to Hong Kong. The stamps either got stolen or fell off or something. So the Hong Kong actually saw no stamps because, as you say earlier, from China, mailing from China, you can actually send it unpaid. So it was actually treated as an unpaid mail. So and then it's received this the accountancy marking of 1F26. Okay. Now it is 1F26 is quite interesting because there were 2 markings. It's 1F26 and 1F22. And you see, I say the Hong Kong is unpaid under Anglo-French, the 86 mail coming from China. So from China, actually, it was 1F26, and then it was charged 10 decim on arrival. So it was actually sent. Although it was prepaid, the stamp was lost. So and then they actually sent as unpaid. Now this is another obviously sample notice. This is from the book. With the same marking, a fantastic cover, and it's pretty. It's in black and white. I'm sure that it's probably in your Sam's collection. So this one is it's also from Shanghai to USA with the same marking, and you can read what this is as showing the same marking. Okay, so the next one is the one with the one that lost the eye. Okay, the next type is actually used on this famous graffiti cover from Yokohama to Amoy. Now, why is this got postage due? I mean, this is quite interesting because at that time, the boat actually from Japan to Hong Kong is considered a different voyage, but it's a different voyage. and you don't actually send through mail from Japan to Amoy. So there were actually 2 trips. So you actually have to pay double the postage. And usually, actually, people have a say maybe forwarding agent or somebody in Hong Kong who pay the actual the rate, the 4-penny rate. But this time, obviously, actually nobody in Hong Kong actually paid the rate to postage rate to Amoy from Hong Kong. So it was actually charged as postage due and sent as a postage due mail. Yeah. So this is the point. So this is another one showing that the I completely disappeared. And this is another interesting cover sent during the Franco-Prussian War of 1870. As you know, if you study this period, the mail route from Marseille to Paris was interrupted by the Prussian, who encircled Paris, and the British mail had to travel by Brindisi and pay an extra 3 pence for the Italian transit. So, but upon arrival, the rates, the P&O has already negotiated with the Italian to charge 30 cents per half-ounce rate. So in fact, this arrived actually without postage due. So this was actually applied to Hong Kong because at that time Hong Kong actually didn't get the message from UK saying that the rate had been reduced. So they put this mark on and put the tuppence there and then sent it on. But upon arrival, this was annulled by the British and nothing to pay. Yeah. So this is actually, this one is from Shanghai. Okay, showing another the interesting one with the short Y, okay, on the right, and I worn off. So this is the third type. Okay, you can see with the squashed AID, quite interesting, and also the eyes wearing off. I don't know. That's probably due to the pressure of applying the stamp. This is quite an interesting that you know, from the 1st of January, the Anglo-US Convention allowed transatlantic postage to be retained by the dispatch country, irrespective of the contract of ship. So actually, if you work this out, why all this mess up here, is because the US, the GB actually credit the US 3 cents a single letter, which was reduced to 2 cents from 1st of January 1869. So this is actually the 2 cents difference. This actually looks like I don't know what you can see what this is. I mean, it looks like 3 or whatever 4. I think it should be a 4. And this is just a like accountancy mark. It's 30 cents credit to GB. Anyway, so this is the example of the third insufficiently prepaid market. Okay, very famous cover from the Ishikawa sale with it's a 96 cents a triple rate solo franking of 96 cents cover, actually also from the same mail as this one. Okay, you can same mail as this one. Okay, this the arrival is January 23rd, 1871. So this is exactly the same. Okay, and then but this is actually triple rate, and then of course as you know, this is a tuppence. This becomes 9. Okay, 9 pence. Okay. But actually, if you this is actually slightly different, the marking. But I'm pretty sure that, you know, somebody would have suggested that, oh, this marking is Shanghai, it's not Hong Kong. Okay, but I'll show you that later, that this actually is a Hong Kong mark. And then you can actually see it's quite different because it's got a dash, a dot, and then okay. So this is actually a different marking, and which is actually proud to call it 215 instead. But this actually hand stamp is not in the GPO book at well. We will probably was sent out from GPO, but page lost. Now, so this actually is from John Tang's collection. This one. Another fantastic cover, also arrived on the same day in London, in the same mail, January 23rd. Okay, but you see, this is from Yokohama to Hong Kong and then to England. I said, obviously Yokohama to Hong Kong is one ship, and the other ship is from Hong Kong to the same P&O boat from the other two covers that I showed you. And you know, obviously this one is actually the same with a dash here and a big loop of P, the same as this one. So actually, this with this cover, actually, it proves that this marking was actually struck in Hong Kong rather than Shanghai. So, has Shanghai got anything, any similar marking than that? Yes, Shanghai has, but actually, it's not this one. This one is actually the Hong Kong one. So, right. So we can talk about the Shanghai types. Actually, proud at the end of it's a thick red book. I mean, there is a section on Shanghai markings. So that basically there are two types from Shanghai. He called it UP3 and UP2 and UP3. I don't know why. Where's UP1? I don't know. But anyway, there's a slight difference between the two. No, it's not slight difference. A big difference actually. So if you look at this, it's got a narrow Y. This has got tall letters and wide gap. With nothing in between. So this is the one, which is Shanghai type. You see, look at a narrow Y, okay, and then you've got but you see the thing is the key of this marking is the color is the same as the Shanghai backstamp. See that's the main thing. The Hong Kong, all the Hong Kong hand stamps are found in black. See, but this one, you know, is a funny red. Shanghai is very interesting because the color of the ink actually changed virtually every year or two. So you started off with a kind of a deep blue, and then become light blue, and then it changed to purple color, and it becomes like a greenish blue color at different years. So actually, if you look at the ink color, you can almost be sure that this is around 1870 to 1871 period. So this is what you can basically the stamps were disallowed, and it was actually sent as an unpaid letter with accountancy from Hong Kong. I think it was struck in Hong Kong. And then additionally, it has actually got another accountancy marking. This is F40, which is actually struck in I believe in Paris. So it was actually from the British, French, and Turner Texas system. So this is actually not. This is actually is a marking actually not recorded in the famous book about this accountancy. Anyway, so basically the whole point is just to show that this is Shanghai rather than Hong Kong. So another cover here this is 72. Okay, it's already become in 72. Shanghai actually used a lot of bluish green ink. I don't know what gone into the ink mixture, but it became bluish green. It's very, very characteristic of all the covers around 1872. And then this color is exactly the same as the back stamp. So, and this, of course, whether this actually stamp belongs or not, I don't know. But you know, there was obviously this underpaid, and there was the stamp was not was disallowed, and so it was actually sent as unpaid to Paris, and then I don't know why. I mean, it's crossed off for one shoe. Maybe they lost the stamp. I don't know, but it had the stamp actually looks quite fresh, so it might not be long. Somebody tried to put one there. Anyway, so this is another one, but this is slightly different. You know, it's got a kind of grayish green color to it. It's the same hand stamp, This is actually in now we're talking about 1875 when the Shanghai actually changed to like a light bluish ink again, and then this was actually endorsed by Brindisi, but only paying the 24 cents Southampton rate, and instead of 30 cents, so it was assessed at threepence underpaid. And the foreign branch charge threepence. In fact, it's quite interesting that there seems to be no penalty to it, which I don't understand. But why suddenly we just basically charge a deficient postage? Anyway, this is the second type, which is apparently this is the only cover known this time. With a gap between insufficiently prepaid and very tall letters. The cent is at the low rate of paying the single rate, so it was we assessed as 32 cents underpaid. Okay, so this is and also it's very interesting that at the end of 1869 to early 1870. The S1 actually switched to black only for about 3 or 4 months, and then it became blue, back to blue again. So this is quite interesting. That we got a nice 3-color franking. Anyhow, okay. So returnable postage, very much scarcer than the insufficiently prepaid. These are the 3 types, 3 hand stamps on the page, and then you can see the first one has a long dash, and the second one is a dot, and the third one is got a shorter dash, but it's got a narrow O, narrow R and O if you compare to these. So there are 3. Fairly distinct. If you study them closely, it's fairly distinct hand stamp. But do you find a lot of these? No, you don't. I mean, the return for postage are surprisingly scarce compared to insufficiently paid covers. So this is one of them. This I believe is ex-student, and then you can see that this is the 214B with the short Y. And then the one missing. This is bad strike, but this is actually the second hand stamp. And then you've got the return of postage with a long dash in between the letters. So this is quite an interesting letter, 1868 letter, underpaid letter from Hong Kong to Bombay, and the rate, of course, is 8 cents per half ounce. And this is actually is a 4 times a quadruple weight letter, and the correct rate being 32 cents. So initially, it was franked 24 cents. I believe 12. 12 plus. Not quite 24, but this one is not. Well, 12 was 4.16 actually, and the top right corner, and then actually it's a 12 cents. Anyway, so it was actually returned for postage for these 2 adhesive because the stamp was there. Obviously, these 2 were stuck on later because it was covering that stamp, and then but I think it was still short pay for postage. Therefore, it's still when it arrived, it has this will apply first, obviously, and then the insufficient pay. Still, the 4 pence underpaid, and there was a postage due mark and a Bombay mark here. So that's the first time. So this is actually from again from John's collection, and you can see the same mark here with the long dash. And this stamp was added later. It's a fantastic late fee, 18 cents late fee cover to Melbourne from the famous Nicholson correspondence. And originally it had 2 stamps, the 12 cents and the 30 cents. And the rate was actually the half ounce rate was 24 cents. So the AAA rate letter, and it should have been franked 72 cents. So it was wrongly stamped and returned for 30 cents additional postage. And it's just a very, very nice cover. Okay, so there you go. Right. So then we look at another marking here. Now this is just a deficient postage, fine with no indication of colonial share. It's another, and the proud. It was illustrated in proud, but nothing in the proof book. So a famous cover with this mark, and it's also earliest known. It's also earliest known F1 food child cover to Melbourne. Again, when the Nicholson correspondence, the cents per legislator. So what was legislator? Actually, legislator it is considered as a packet boat. It's exactly a packet. It's not a private ship. It's actually by the Eastern and Australian steamer. So it was actually sent by the ENA to Melbourne. And then of course the rate was not a ship letter rate, it was a packet letter rate as 24 so a shilling or 24 cents. But interestingly, see, if you add it up together, it should have been 1 shilling and 1 penny. But somehow Australians just charge 1 shilling. I don't know, maybe that penny was credited to Hong Kong or whatever. So the Australians just took 1 shilling. So anyway, so this marking actually is quite interesting because it was actually left in the post office and was actually taken out for use in a very worn state in the 1920s, according to Cloud. So this is actually said to be the latest report of usage marking on the July 1920. Okay, you can see how worn out this marking. So this is the 1920 July underpaid letter from Chicago to Hong Kong by Pacific at 5 cents per ounce. So it's got 2 cents Washington, and the US assessed it at 30 centimes deficient postage. Somehow the post office worked it out at the 12 cents. Maybe it was a double deficiency of 3 cents. I don't know. So this is another and the cover. However, Mr. Chu actually has this cover in his collection. Actually, he advanced the date to 1916. So this is a brilliant cover, which I really nearly fainted when I saw it, when it showed to me. So it was actually is underpaid letter from Port Bayard in Guangzhou Wan in a French colony in China, in southern China, to Sai Ying Pun. It's got a Sai Ying Pun type A, single ring CDS, extremely rare. And then it's got the impression of the deficient postage fine hand stamp used for collecting postage. And you can tell me, why they worked it out at 8 cent deficient with the combination of this is actually 2 cents overprint on the 5 centime, and this is I'm not sure whether it's actually 10 cents plus 5 cents or it actually is a 5 cent stamp. So there you are. Okay, so when Hong Kong actually joined the GPU or UPU on the 1st of April 1877, a different marking denotes insufficiently prepaid mail is needed. So that is to be continued. So thank you very much. So that's my bit. I think if I go on with the next chapter, it will be for another hour or so. So anyway, any questions, any comments? Please fire away.
If I may?
Yes.
Go ahead, Ingo.
No, I was just going to say there's some beautiful eye candy covers in that presentation. Thank you
wish
for
all of them
showing
were
them.
mine.
Oh yeah, beautiful things. My comment is on the last cover. I believe that Indo-Chinese stamp would be a semi-postal. That may be why it has the 5 cents added.
Oh, right. So the 5 cent
So
is
It's just
what,
a
is it charity or
charity
what?
donation.
Charity
So it's
donation.
10 cents. It's 10 cents, the rate.
So the postage is still send tens on team.
Yeah,
rather
so
than-
10 is what franked the letter, 5 was a
Okay,
gift
so
to the
it's
charity,
12,
I
it was
think.
12 then, that case, because the other is a
Yeah.
2 cent, it's tiny Chinese 2 cents overprint. Okay.
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
I think, but I'm sure the catalogs will tell us that.
Yeah. Why? Yes, I didn't have time to go through the catalog, but anyway.
No, you are correct. You are correct. They are charity stamps.
Yeah,
And,
they're charity
that does not count. Yes.
So the 5 cent actually is a donation and doesn't count towards the postage.
Exactly, it's a donation.
Thank you, Philippe. Yeah. So right. Anything? Sam's got any comments? Sam?
Wow.
They're not mine.
Man, I wish I have that data when we were working on it. Man, it's just mind-boggling what you have assembled and your observation. Fantastic. We
Yeah.
need a new book and you need to write it.
Well, that's what your buddy's been telling me to do.
Yes, write it.
Oh dear, there's so much work. I mean, your
There's so
book
much
is-
more. I mean,
Yeah.
mine was just a first attempt, so
No,
much
the-
more
yours
stuff.
is-
that-
Yours is a pioneer of postage too, and it's now used as a reference.
Well, because I have the postmaster writing it for me.
You had both. Yeah. He's still around. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So, well, thanks for listening. Anybody have any further comments? Or shall we go to the next chapter or the next meeting? Shall we still deal with postage due, or you got fed up with it and we do something else? I think Susan. Do you want to continue, Susan, or shall we just move on to next month's meeting with your presentation?
I think we leave until next month's meeting.
all
Yeah, we've probably
Okay.
done a couple of hours, haven't we?
Yeah, sure. I think we have. We have exactly half an hour. Exactly 2 hours. Yes. So it would please the certain people that say that we have
Yes.
we have to drag it out to 2 hours. Anyway, so I look forward to your presentation. Well, I think probably Ingo will probably still have some more things to show, or maybe Chris Norton is still got things, but he would like to show through, I think, Richard Whittington, his buddy. So well, let's see anyway. So I think to be fair, I think we should continue for another meeting regarding postage dues. Okay. So anyway, we have Dr. Prakop there. Dr. Prakop, welcome. Dr.
Thank you,
Prakop is the
Andrew.
FIP president.
Hmm.
Yes, Dr. Prakop, would you like to say a few things?
Okay, as usual, it was a pleasant presentation. I learned a lot, and thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Dr. Andrew, for hosting this one. And I believe that we will be meeting in a week times, right?
Oh, sure, of course.
Yeah.
There's several of us will be there, and thank you very much for FIAP for sponsoring the meeting as usual. Okay. Oh well. If nobody's got anything to say, and I'd like to end the meeting, by wishing you have a good day and or good evening or whatever. And if you're making a trip to Essen next week, I'll see you there. Okay. Anyway, if not, see you next month. Thank you very much. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.